Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Whiskey Games, a long form podcast where I discuss how to have a happier lifestyle with a healthier wallet. Looks like Brutus is going to be joining us this evening for tonight's rendition of Whiskey Games. So, I want to owe the idea of this podcast to John McGurk, a local celebrity in the podcast scene. He is the creative talent behind the Podcast Doctor, and I had a very fruitful meeting with him earlier this evening. So the inspiration for tonight's podcast comes from Mr. John McGurk. So thank you, John. So welcome to Whiskey Games. If you like what you hear, please, of course, like and subscribe to my channel below. You can do that. This is where we talk about having a healthier wallet and a happier lifestyle. We will discuss things like exercise, health and wellness, fitness and finance, other hobbies, living in the world that we live in today, and I believe a certain mentality can lead to the lifestyle of your dreams. Speaking of dreams, I want nothing to be off topic. So if you have any ideas of what you would like me to talk about, what would you like to discuss, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, please comment below, please reach out to me. And yeah, so this is going to be slightly scripted, but at one point I will go completely off topic, and I just want to share some things from my past. And I want nothing to be off topic. I want anything to be open to discussion. You know, the world of finance can be very boring. So a lot of the creative side that comes into finance is drawing the correlations and putting things together, connecting the dots, as it were. So today, I wanted to briefly talk about the history of Whiskey Games, why I do what I do, how we got started, how I got here today, and what drives me. Growing up, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. I come from a I would say, very humble background. I have a father who worked very hard growing up, a mother as well. I can remember both of them working two jobs when I was in school, so this is what gave me the work ethic to work two jobs throughout college, to work two jobs in high school, and to save up enough money so that I could have the experiences that I've had, such as traveling abroad. And all of that has led, since age 13, 14, 15, all of that has led to the history of Frugal Son. Frugal Son is a blog and a website that I created in college. As a finance major, I started in engineering, actually. I started in college in engineering, and I was aware of this trend of the internet. You know, it was a big thing for me as a kid. It came out when I was in 8th grade. No one had ever heard of it before, and creating your own website was like what everyone was doing. If you created your own website, you were truly making a lot of money. So I got on Blogger and did what any good college student would do. I published an ebook so that I'd have beer money. And I created frugalson.com. You can actually Google that site and see what it's valued at right now. It is no longer operational because of things that happened after college, which happen after college. You move on, you pursue your career. You go into careers that have conflicts of interest, and so I was unable to operate that website at one point in my career, so I had to let the domain go. Unfortunately, I'm very sad. I don't want to call it a big mistake, but we'll call it a massive, massive learning experience, because that website is valued at over $1,000 today for something that I put minimal effort into. So, why Whiskey Games? Why am I calling it Whiskey Games? Well, number one, I'm from Tennessee, and we like whiskey here. And number two, the art of conversation is something that can't be taught. The art of conversation is something that can only be learned. And the art of conversation really does come out and become more of a thing when you are socially lubricated. And I'm not saying that you need to go out and get drunk and have a great, have a lot of good conversations, but it certainly helps. And be careful out there. Always be careful. A lot of the greats, Hemingway, Twain, all of these really great authors and really great thinkers of our past, they were known for their alcohol intake. I personally don't drink as much anymore. I enjoy it very minimally. I will say in college that was a little bit different, but in the in honesty and transparency, I was who I was, and I am who I am today because of it. So the significance of whiskey games comes from the art of conversation, and I believe a good conversation in the South. Will, one of my friends who I met when I lived in St. Louis, who was one of the only other people from the South at the time when we were in this training program together, they would always kind of, I don't want to say make fun of me, but they would always be kind of off-put by the fact that I had this ability to slow down, have a conversation with someone, and just enjoy being in the moment. And my friend Will Stewart put it the best way. Will, if you're out there, thank you so much, man. You're a huge impact on my life. I hope you're doing well these days. So drop me a line one day. Let's meet up and have a whiskey together. He said, well, when you're from the South, a good conversation is the cherry on top of your day. So through that art, I would like to share with the world and through whiskey games, not only through my website and my blog. So you can check us out at thomaswilsonco.com. You can still check out my blog from college, Frugal Son, blogger.com, dhill76.blogspot.com, something like that. But if you Google Frugal Son, it will take you to my blog. And I was very much inspired in college by Frugal Dad, Dave Ramsey, and similar great thinkers and people that helped formulate who I am today. So how does whiskey games, how does Frugal Son, how do great blog posts like the 4 pillars of building wealth, or how intermittent fasting can give you more confidence and a healthier wallet, how saving 1% of your income can make you a 1%er. I'm looking at some of these blog posts from back in the day, learning a lot about changing your financial habits, but having trouble here and there. Even talking about the incentive to blog and just blogging about my journey of that. So I think travel abroad was a huge part of that. I lived in Spain, and when I was a project manager for the company in Spain, I spent a lot of time drinking a lot of espresso. Spain has great espresso, as does Europe in general. As one of my former and current mentors, Gianpaolo Ongaro, will gladly profess the art of drinking espresso late into the evening. So a lot of my great ideas came from traveling abroad, because now I'm making new connections in my brain. So I can't highly recommend that enough to anyone who's ever been thinking about getting out into the world, that I believe that getting and traveling abroad and spending some time living somewhere that is well beyond your comfort zone can really work magic for the creative brain. So with that being said, a lot of my blog and articles and inspiration came from that time over there. And I have a whole journal that I've mentioned in previous blog posts that I would like to go through and share with y'all some of the things that I've learned in the past. So Frugal Son came of this idea in college that you can live a lifestyle that is like your strengths and does what you want to do, and we have created a world today where that's more possible than ever before, regardless of what it is that your passion is. My passion has always been in helping people. Since I was 13, 14, 15 years old, Dave Ramsey has been a huge part of my growing years, and so I wanted to take it to the next level. And so then I explored the career path of finance and financial analytics and those sort of things. And then while I was in college, I started waiting tables. I helped open up a Five Guys, and I realized I love being in front of people. I love talking to people. I love speaking to people. I love learning about people. I love hearing their stories, and I love hearing what makes them tick. So that is how I got into becoming a financial advisor. And I spent many, many, many years going down this route. I've been in and out of the industry in various capacities for about 10 years now, since about 19 years old. And because of that, I am who I am today. And I have finally, as of 3 years ago, gone 100% independent. And because of that, I'm able to get back to my passion, which is having conversations with people. And I would love to have guests on this podcast to talk about anything from health and wellness. So let's actually touch on that topic briefly. So why health and wellness? I mean, what does that have to do with finance? What does that have to do with intermittent fasting? Well, if you're keen, you can already maybe see the correlations there of a fasting to lose weight and a fasting from consumerist ideologies to fatten up that wallet a little bit. So maybe you're already correlating those two, but I do have an interesting blog post about it. And anyway, I grew up very typical American. McDonald's was a huge part of my life growing up. I mean, whenever and it's not anyone's fault. It's just a fast-paced lifestyle. And so I grew up on the heavier side. I was a lineman in middle school and high school. At my heaviest, I was 290 pounds at 6'4". I was a monster. I was a beast, though. I was getting recruited to Marshall University, to places like the University of Alabama, and that is one of the biggest, not like things that, like, what is one of your biggest regrets? Well, probably not playing football for the University of Alabama. I'd have 3 championship rings, even if I just redshirted. That would have been phenomenal. But I still keep the box of mail and envelope as a testament to my success. In fact, if you'd allow me a moment, I can show you one of my most prized possessions, which is this right here, which is the picture of my senior year of high school football. And I am number 76, right there, next to one of my heroes, Coach Brothers. There I am. And that is the team. I can name just about everyone on that picture. In fact, I can name everyone in there. So that's one of my most prized possessions because of that experience and that lifestyle and that mindset. And I wish I had more pictures to show you that I grew up this very large, very big, very heavy guy. And it always was a struggle at certain times because kids are bullies, and there's nothing we can do to change that, as much as people these days want to try to change that. Bullies are bullies, and it made me better because of it. Without it, I never would be where I'm at today. It never would have inspired me or driven me to get here. So I'm thankful to all the bullies in my life and from my past. So thank you guys, because without you, I wouldn't be here. So how does that relate? What does that mean? How, like, lifestyle, health, wellness? I believe that through a mentality, a certain mindset, a certain changing and rewiring of the brain, that you can achieve the lifestyle of your dreams. How did I travel to Spain at such a young age? Well, number one, I worked very hard to do an internship and become a project manager. I worked 2.5 jobs that summer. I picked up odds and ends. I saved up the money that my ebook was gaining and garnering for me, so I was getting royalties from my ebook, and I was socking it away, and I was living like a monk. Spirituality is very important. We will have spirituality discussions as well. So I was living like a monk, saving up everything that I could so that I had the opportunity to go. I will also thank my parents, who were instrumental, monumental, and paramount in helping me get there. Because without their sacrifice, I would not be here today. So Mom and Dad, thank you so much. But as far as intermittent fasting goes, and health and wellness, the mentality that you gain from living that kind of lifestyle for your diet and exercise regimen can very easily translate into how you invest, your patience, because if anyone who has ever gone down that road of exercise and diet knows that it's not easy. It's very difficult. It's not easy whatsoever, and you have to, with superhuman strength, overcome a lot of pitfalls. And I think that through that, you gain superhuman perseverance and discipline. As Jocko Willink says, discipline equals freedom. I would show you right now one of my favorite pieces of artwork in this room, but that will be for another day. But it's my new tagline. I hit it every time I leave in the morning. It does say, discipline equals freedom. And underneath, my favorite word, which I hope one day you will see my picture next to in one of the dictionaries, which is perseverance. Has been my favorite word since high school, and the harder the conflict, the more glorious the victory. So that's a little bit briefly of the history of why I do what I do. And I believe that through a certain mentality and a rewiring of the consumer-minded brain, that we can achieve true freedom. Through discipline and perseverance, we can achieve true freedom. Whether that be in your diet, whether that be in finance, whether that be in your home lifestyle, whether that be in art and creativity, no matter what it is, I think that that's something that can be done, and that's what I want and always have been the message of the priesthood of finance, my priesthood of finance to be. So I touched on intermittent fasting for spending, which we will dedicate maybe an entire long-form podcast to intermittent fasting. Martin Burkham is huge in that, so thank you, Martin Burkham. If I had never found you, you wouldn't be up there in my list of online mentors, so thank you so much for all of your hard work. Leangains.com, if you haven't heard of him before, check him out. And I just wanted to briefly share with you some of the other blog posts that I wrote back in the day. Some of these are drafts, but I just posted Hold'em Herbie. I will be embedding this video on the website as well. But how intermittent fasting can give you more confidence and other helpful tips. How saving 1% of your income can make you a 1%er. The 4 Pillars of Building Wealth, which is actually cross-posted on my professional website, which is a very great read, and I highly recommend that one. That's one of my most viewed ones. Resolutions and checklist. Starting a new path to financial freedom doesn't need to just be a New Year's thing. So resolutions and checklists. Starting a new path to financial freedom doesn't need to just be a New Year's thing. So there's that. This is a good one. The one that I briefly was trying to mention earlier. Oops. I'm having some trouble here. I even get personal with it. I went through a really big sickness in Spain, which those of you who know me and know me well, we can talk about. One of these here, Studying Abroad and Staying Healthy on a Budget. That's a really fun read, and that's actually my most viewed one with 3,827 views and reads. And then Defining the Frugal Lifestyle with 1,939. So this was a labor of love back in the day, and this has actually turned into something a lot bigger. And so now that I have a podcast and my image can be preserved forever, now it's more than just something to do. This is now my way to get to the world what I've been thinking and what I've been journaling about and what I've been preaching to myself for the last several years and preaching to my clients in several different ways. But now I'm able to reach a whole new avenue. So if you'd like to have a conversation, or if you'd like to hear more, please comment below. You guys know how to do it. This is YouTube. You guys know what you're doing. Please drop me a like. Please drop me a subscription. I would love to keep going on and on and on. I've been going for 20 minutes now. I think that's a good brief introduction to the long-form podcast that I'm going to start trying to do here. As you can see, I do have a history of doing this. I've been, like I said, in the industry off and on for 10 years now. So I love helping people. I love helping people get on track to better life, better wellness, feeling better. And again, thank you, John McGurk, for reaching out to me and starting your meetup group and giving me a little bit more inspiration and getting started on this. And to anyone else out there, stay strong, my brothers. Stay strong, my brothers and sisters. Discipline equals freedom. Thank you, Jocko Willing. Thank you, Jordan Peterson. Thank you, Joe Rogan. Thank you, everyone out there who's inspired us and shown us that there's a sacrifice, there's a debt. Nay, there is a debt that cannot be repaid, and it is the freedom for me to do this. So to all of our military servicemen and women out there, thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. I'm very humbled by your service and your sacrifice, and I look forward to meeting y'all. And please, if there's anything I can ever do for anybody out there, please do not hesitate to reach out. I want to help you in any way possible, any way, shape, or form. So thank y'all so much for listening to me talk about the history of whiskey games and the evolution of Frugal Sun and the art of conversation. So goodbye for now, and have a great week.